Alrighty. Well, we are live again, and we will see how this one goes. And on my last live, I was saying how everything is backwards, inverted, but then on the replay, when you play it back, it's all normal. So, yeah. So we'll just see if anybody shows up. This time, I did tweet out to anybody following me on Twitter that I would be going live, and I will always, if I'm going to do a live, I'll just tweet that out in the future. So for those of you, because there's no one in here, but for those of you that are watching this as it plays back, now that I am retired and doing YouTube pretty much daily content to try and build my audience and build my viewership up to get my hours, to get monetized and all that, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe, click the bell, do all that other stuff that helps me grow. Because now this is going to be my endeavor for the near future, trying to get this thing built up and everything. So if you're not already following me on social media as well, I'm on all the socials, Instagram, I'm on TikTok, Clapper, I'm on I even have a Snapchat, which I don't use, but I do have my handle there. So you guys can follow me on all the socials and like, subscribe, all that stuff. So we'll get that out of the way. And then it looks like we got one person in here now. Let's see if it tells me. Let's see, participants, just says me, but it shows on the head count, it shows one person where it said 0 before, so I don't think it counts me. So there should be hopefully somebody in here. We'll see. So, alrighty. Well, last time I think the maximum that I had was, hi Mike. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. It's a different spelling, but I'm going to assume it's Mike. Yeah. Last time I think we got to a grand total of 8 concurrent people. So tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about some video game stuff. We're going to talk about see if anybody's excited about the new Matrix movie that's going to be coming out. That they dropped all the teaser stuff today. So wait till a few more people get in. Hopefully some more people get in here, and we'll see. And we'll have a little chat about that. Let's see here. So while we're waiting, and I'll probably, if more people join later, I'll probably end up talking about this too. But I got this in the mail today, and this is for our Salt Lake, what they used to call Salt Lake Comic-Con. It is now called Fan X, and I don't know if they're doing them twice a year, but the way they came up with that name is that they had Salt Lake Comic-Con in the fall, and then in the spring they started one called Fan X. Well, then city of San Diego, this guy that owns this, one of the guys that owns this, he pissed the people in San Diego off something fierce, because he went down there and was advertising for the Salt Lake one in front of the San Diego Comic-Con, which of course was the great big one, and he pissed him off, and they decided to sue him, saying that he could not use the term Comic-Con, and that they had either trademarked it or copywritten it or whatever, and they lost the lawsuit, so they had to change the name. Now, I don't know if that's obviously that's going to set some kind of legal precedent for San Diego, that any of these other cons across the nation they haven't, as far as I can tell, they haven't picked a fight with anybody else but Dan Farr, one of the owners, the one that pissed them off. I guess he pissed them off enough to where they decided to pick a fight with him. So, in any case, it's now called FanX. And at its heyday, Salt Lake Comic Con, we were getting like, I think the most I ever got was 70 or 80,000, which was quite a bit. They were expecting like 20. We might have actually broke the 100,000. I can't remember, but it got kind of big there. And then the lawsuit hurt them with that whole battle and all that. And then of course COVID hit, so that also took the steam out of it. And so I don't know if they're going to recover or not. But I have a personal connection to these knuckleheads as well. So do a lot of us, what they call small media that used to promote our Salt Lake Comic Con, just the way we were treated and so forth. So if we get, hey there, G1602, I'm just gonna call you G for if you stick around, and I refer to you for answering any questions. I'm just gonna say G. Anyway, we're talking about stuff like video games, the Matrix movie trailers that dropped today, just random stuff. I just dropped an in-game footage video just before this. I did some Quake Remastered, which Quake was always a fun game way back in the day, and now they've remastered it. It looks a lot better, of course, and all that. But what I forgot was the reason that people didn't do in-game footage for the original Quake game was because 9 Inch Nails, the band that did the music for the soundtrack for the game, they made a copyright claim because their music is in the background. And like a dumbass, I forgot to shut off the music on my video, and I immediately got a copyright claim or whatever. It doesn't change it from playing, but it just won't allow me to ever monetize it. If I do ever get to the point where I can monetize, I could not monetize that video because if I did, 9 Inch Nails would get whatever pennies that were coming. It would go to 9 Inch Nails instead of me. Let's see here. You ever go to Gen Con? I like to go at least once. Jesse, I have been to Gary Con twice. I was planning to go to Gen Con before COVID hit. And now that's kind of making it an iffy thing because we'll have to see how variants go. If the variants keep on, Chupa, there's Chupa. He was in the last one. Hey, Chupa. So I'm fully vaccinated. I had COVID like way at the very beginning last year when so my antibodies are supposedly pretty high because I've had it, and then I was fully vaccinated with the mRNA vaccine, Pfizer. So I feel pretty protected, but I forget how many people. It's like isn't it like 150,000 people at Gen Con or something like that? So we may just have to wait and see how the variants, like say next year, if we've got this thing maybe under control. But if there's like crazy ass variants like the zebra variant or some crazy shit that's come out that's like breaking through vaccines or whatever, I mean, that could of course affect it. So we'll just have to wait and see on Gen Con. I really do want to go, but okay, Jesse, so you've got reservations to go now. Yeah, I mean, if I think anybody that wants to go and have all those experiences and have that fun, if they're vaccinated, if they're not vaccinated, I think you're just playing Russian roulette. I really do. But if you're vaccinated and you go to that thing, and you feel pretty protected, then have a ball, and I'll just have to wait and see. At the earliest, it would be 2022 for Gen Con for me. And there's some other things going on in real life wise, timing wise for that next year where it might actually work out. So yeah, I could see myself going next year. That would be I actually have a buddy of mine who went to GaryCon with me once. He wants to go next year, so it may work out. So the wild card there just being the COVID thing. So we'll see how it goes. But one of the things I want, so it looks like I got 4 of you guys in here now. So let's ask you guys about the announcement about the Alan Wake remastered that got announced either today or yesterday. I played a very small amount of the very first Alan Wake, and I have a real hard time getting into third person perspective games. I like first person stuff, and I have a real hard time with third person stuff. So it didn't grab me as much as it probably should have. Have any of you played the first one, and if so, are you guys looking forward to the remastered version, or should they just be working on a new, like a new entry into the franchise? Would you guys feel like they would be better spent just working on a new one? Because I'm seeing that a lot with these remastered games. You're seeing a lot of stuff. I mean, we're getting another Skyrim, the 10th year anniversary thing, and it's like, okay, it's been 10 years, and you keep on, putting on a new coat of paint and putting it out again. Couldn't they have done, Elder Scrolls? What would that be, 6 at this point? I know they're working on it, they say, but damn, it's been 10 years. So haven't played it either, but might pick up the remastered one. I have the first one. Like I said, I played it a little bit. I don't know if the remastered one, it may be one of those things where if you own it, you get the remastered version for free. I have a few of those games where they've done that. Disco Elysium, the final cut was free if you already owned it. And by the way, if you haven't played Disco Elysium, play Disco Elysium. I mean, it is the single greatest role-playing experience on a video screen that I've ever had. I mean, it is crazy. Have you ever done any online gaming? Well, I used to be way back in the day. If you're talking about stuff like Counter-Strike, I was in a Counter-Strike. It was a terrible term that they used to use. They used to use the term clan. I don't know if they still do, but a group or a guild in Counter-Strike was called a clan. So I was in one of those, and we actually did competitive matches. We were in some kind of primitive league, and it was Counter-Strike. It was the original Counter-Strike, and then I think 5.1 came out, and we were still in the league and all that. But when CS:GO came out, I don't think by then any of us were still playing it. I had moved cross country a couple times, and so I got out of practice and all that. But so if that's what your question is about online gaming, John, yes, I've done that, and I've done some other, stuff here or there. But that was the most hardcore that I got. I mean, we were pretty competitive, and we were pretty good. Our team was pretty good. Our tag was GUE for Gamers Underground Empire. And so every one of our handles started with GUE. There would be a GUE and then an underscore and then your handle. And so I was GUE Duff. And the reason I picked Duff was because The Simpsons was in its heyday, and Duff Beer. There was Duff Beer in the Simpsons. And for some reason I just picked. And I think my icon was Homer Simpson. I think. I can't remember 100%, but I think it was. So I don't know. Does that answer your question, John? As far as me having been in online gaming, I mean, if you're talking about Call of Duty and stuff like that, I'm not a big fan of having teenagers, digitally teabag me. So the whole Call of Duty thing never really appealed to me. It's like back in the day with Counter-Strike. I mean, I had the skill, but Call of Duty came out, at least the competitive stuff, online stuff came out later. So I was probably past my prime at that point. I hope everybody has something nice to enjoy while we're doing this. I even brought I even brought a backup just so I don't have to get up in the middle of the live. So, so G, you say I'm done with Skyrim, incredible game, but can't play another round of it. See, hey LaCroix, well, you know, sparkling water. What? But the question is, what flavor of LaCroix? I'm a pineapple guy myself, so if I do LaCroix, yeah, G, Skyrim. I'm a Fallout 4 person. Well, so okay, let me answer your question, G, or talk to you about that Skyrim comment, and then we'll go back to John. So with Skyrim, I loved Skyrim. It never grabbed me the same as Fallout 4 because Fallout 4 had settlement building, and it just, that was what grabbed me. I would love to jump back into Skyrim and invest another however many hours it would be. I might wait for, you know, it perfect time would be to wait for this 10th anniversary one and jump in and see if it grabs me the same. And because I never finished the main story in Skyrim. I finished the one in Fallout 4 like 6 times, but I never finished the one in Skyrim. So I might jump back in. Hey, Dragon. I'm the only person here that probably knows you by that, Dragon, but I'm always going to call you Dragon. But anyway, so and then so John, D&D or RPGs? Yes, we played during the whole COVID thing last year. We played on Roll20. We played almost like a whole year. So yeah, if that's what you're talking about. So yes, I've done that. And way back in the day when Neverwinter Nights, the original Neverwinter, not the original, sorry, take that back. The original Neverwinter Nights, going way back to America Online, there was a Neverwinter Nights that was a pay by the minute, believe it or not, MMO. One of the very first MMO. There was Meridian 59, I think it was, and then Neverwinter Nights. And that was the original. Then the next Neverwinter Nights was the one where they had the developer's kit where you could create your own dungeons and adventures and people could come in and play them. I tinkered a little bit with that, John. And then the Roll20 stuff. You thought lemon was the only flavor. No, they got, LaCroix's got all kinds of flavors. Jesse, you make beer all day. So you do Scotch whiskey. You're my hero. You make beer all day. I mean, damn. I thought I had a cool job now being a YouTuber, even though I'm not getting paid. But making a beer all day sounds pretty cool too. Yeah, one of the first I watched Josh Strive Hayes video on ancient MMOs. Good channel. Yep. So if you, yeah, so then you know, Dragon, you know what I'm talking about when I talk about the original Neverwinter Nights and Meridian 59 and all that. That was way before most people have any idea about. And people think the first MMO was EverQuest, but it wasn't. There were ones before. There was Ultima Online was before, and then even before was Meridian 59 and the original Neverwinter Nights. So, John, so you did do the original Neverwinter Nights for about 12 years and then moved on to Fantasy Grounds. So, are you talking about, John, are you talking about the original Gold Box Neverwinter Nights, like I'm talking about the pay by the minute one, or are you talking about Neverwinter Nights, the one, I think it was Obsidian that made it, or anyway, you know which one I'm talking about, the one with the developer's kit. I think that's the one you're talking about. Dragon, I was 1 year old when the gold box dropped. Yeah, I was in the army in Germany when the gold box, the SSI gold box games, Pool of Radiance, Curse of the Azure Bonds, all those gold box games dropped, and Neverwinter Nights was right after that. So I was in my early 20s. So yeah. So yeah, yeah, I know all that old. That's why I got this shit right here, is because I'm that damn old, you know. But being retired at 53 is pretty cool. Gives me time to do all of this kind of stuff. Right, you're right. It was BioWare. You're absolutely correct, Dragon. Um, and then Obsidian did the second. You are absolutely correct. Yeah. One day, what I'll do is I'll probably do, and maybe I've already done, because I've done like 500 videos now on YouTube, but I may have done one where I have the special collector's edition of Neverwinter Nights 2, I think, and it's the one that came with a T-shirt and everything. I'll have to look at it, and maybe I'll just do a video about that whole box set because it was incredible. And again, I may have done one years ago and just forgotten about it, but it doesn't hurt to do another one. So I can always try that. So yeah, BioWare back in the day, when Baldur's Gate came out, BioWare and Knights of the Old, you had Knights of the Old Republic, Baldur's Gate, all that shit, and uh, they were incredible. And we're isn't it kind of funny that we're kind of seeing the same thing with um, uh, Project CD Project Red, where we all thought, with the imploding of EA and Activision Blizzard and all these other ones, we're like, okay, CD Project Red, you're our final hope, to be the AAA developer that we deserve. And then they fucked up Cyberpunk, and I know they're fixing it, but that launch was shit, you know. Um, yeah, and now you're scared for Witcher 4. Yeah, I mean, aren't we all? Because um, you put your faith in these like BioWare. No one thought BioWare would just die the way it did, and kind of just filtered out, and now we're seeing it with CD Project Red. I heard they're doing I saw a snippet today about they're doing some crowdfunding thing for a Witcher project. And it's like, okay, well, they should have been swimming in money when Cyberpunk came out. If they had done it correctly and the way they promised and everything else, they should have been swimming in money. And if they're doing crowdfunding, what does that say? Who knows? But I don't know, and if any of you guys know, this would be good information. If any of you guys know, was there a percentage ever announced of how many people did returns on Cyberpunk? Like on the Steam store or any of that stuff? Because I know I didn't return mine. I still have it and I intend to play it. But I want to make damn sure that it is stable and there's no more major glitches, because that's the kind of game I will invest a shit ton of time into. But I'm not going to do that if I have a possibility of my save getting corrupted and losing all that and having to start from scratch or any of that bullshit, So they did get 13 million pre-orders, but sounds like millions return the game if they crowdfund. Yep, that's exactly what that's what my gut's telling me, So who knows? Yeah, it's kind of scary. So now, before I forget, did so we got 9 people in here now. Did any of you guys see the Matrix teaser stuff that dropped today, with the red pill and the blue pill and all that stuff and all the different teaser trailers? Now, a lot of you may not be, I have no idea what your ages are. I kind of know what yours is, Dragon, your age range, but how many of you are old enough to have enjoyed um, the Matrix? But this new movie, it has, there's no Morpheus, but Keanu obviously is back, and they've got some different new talent that's going to be in there. And I watched a couple of the teasers, and I gotta say, it's got me interested because I loved the Matrix. The first Matrix was like, I mean, for those of us that saw it like when it dropped, when it was new in theaters, it was kind of like that same feeling of seeing Star Wars for the very first Star Wars in 1977, because there was shit in the Matrix that no one had ever seen before. There were special effects and things that were going on there no one had ever seen before, and we were just like, doing one of those things. So yeah. Okay, so Mike, you saw it. Colin, I saw a picture of the 2 pills, but the meaning sailed right over my head. Well, all I can tell you, Colin, is on one of the streaming services, if it's available, watch the first Matrix movie. I don't want to spoil anything for you, and I don't think anybody else here will, because the red and blue pill, it's crucial. It's the whole thing. So do yourself a favor, stream the original Matrix to learn the meaning of that, and then while you're at it, watch the whole damn movie because it's incredible. I saw the old movies as a teen. I recall wasn't the first movie around two. I think it was older than that, but oh, Colin, you did. So if you saw it, then if you don't, do you not remember that Morpheus at the very beginning he offers Neo a red or a blue pill, and they have a very specific meaning depending on which pill you take. So and maybe that'll jog your memory. So John, do you have the same nostalgia that I did for, because I know that maybe you're the same age as me, John, I don't know, but if you have that same feeling from the Star Wars movies, seeing them for the first time when in theaters, the Matrix hit me kind of the same way, just different technology, different concepts, about being a computer generated world and all these things. So you watch it on TV. Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it holds up. I've seen it since, obviously a few times since it first dropped and everything. But if they did this right, hopefully because the third Matrix sucked. I mean, it wasn't, well, that's probably, that's kind of a short reaction. It didn't have the same grip on us, I think, that the first two did. And maybe this one will, capture some of that again. John, so I haven't been to the theater since The Two Towers was first released. I envy you because I'm pretty much a hermit, and COVID for me was like, I get to be locked in my house. I'm like, oh darn, with all of my toys and everything, and my computer games and play D&D, online on Roll20 and drink beer and get caught up on a bunch of TV shows that I'm behind on. Yeah. So okay, so Chupa, and for the rest of you, I know Chupa and I are exactly the same age from the last live. And he and I actually were serving in Germany in the army at the same time, which is kind of wild. I actually did the security for the original Jurassic. I actually did the security for the first 2 Jurassic Parks. And when I say I did the security, I was the security manager at the lower lot of Universal Studios, and I provided the security officers to the production cut to Spielberg and everybody. So all the security officers on all the sets, they all worked for me. And then I would go and like visit the sets and stuff like that. So I have a lot of cool stories about the very first Jurassic Park on the production of that. As a matter of fact, I have an original poster. You can't see it on my wall right here. That I got from the studio because when it dropped, they gave us brand new posters like that to each one of us, and we each got T-shirts that said it was special. It was a special like opening day T-shirt or whatever. So, yes, COVID was a big stay-at-home avoid. People signed me up. Yep, that was me. New movies on HBO Max is a great thing. I agree. Absolutely. I got a 65-inch TV and surround sound, and if I need to pee, I can get up and go take a pee. So where I don't have to. I can just pause it, go take a leak, grab a soda, grab a beer, get some snacks, whatever. It's fantastic. What do you think of the Hobbit movies? I don't mind them, but I felt Lord of the Rings trilogy was more faithful to the books. Dragon, you're 100% correct. the Lord of the Rings trilogy for me was fantastic. It was incredible. And The Hobbit had parts in it that just made me shake my head. The barrel thing on the river with the hobbits bouncing around, jumping from one to the other, and all that was all horseshit. I mean, that kind of, yeah. Um, I So yes, it was not faithful as far as I'm concerned. The Hobbit trilogy was not faithful to the books. Um, so Colin, so yeah, Jurassic Park. So I will tell you guys a quick story about why that was so monumental from a security standpoint, where a lot of people don't consider this. When they were filming the original Jurassic Park, cell phones weren't a thing yet. You had cell phones in cars, excuse me, but you didn't have portable. I mean, you did have some they could take around in a bag, big ass things, but you didn't have, like, the flip phones hadn't come out yet. So, and if they did, they didn't have a camera on them where they could take pictures. So, um, so for us, from a security standpoint, the biggest challenge for us was Steven Spielberg said he did not want, under any circumstance, did he want any photographs of the dinosaurs to get out to the press, to the paparazzi, to the newspapers, to anybody. So Stan Winston was the guy who did all the live action animatronic dinosaurs, and there were giant canvases to go over all the raptors and the T-Rex, etc. And anytime they were not in a scene, they had to be covered with one of these canvases at all times. So they would literally shoot the scene with the raptors or whatever, and there were guys that were specifically tasked with, as soon as the shot was done, go throw the tarps back over them. So even if someone snuck a camera onto the set or whatever, they couldn't. They just get a picture of a canvas. So, and the security was very tight. All of our officers were handpicked, and they had to check IDs 100%. There was 100% ID check, badge ID check, and all that stuff. But we didn't have the struggle that they would have now with everybody having a fucking camera in their hand, in their pocket. I don't know if we could do that now. I don't know if we could keep the pictures from getting out now. Luckily for us, they hadn't come out. Cell phones with cameras and shit hadn't come out yet. So we managed, because if you notice, they never revealed any of the dinosaurs till you saw the movie. Like any of the trailers, anything else, they didn't show any dinosaurs. That was the whole point. They wanted you to go, holy shit, are those real dinosaurs? I mean, because they look real. And so we were very proud of the fact that nobody got a picture out to the paparazzi or the press, because you had to worry about even the crew. The crew, some paparazzi says, hey man, I'll give you $1,000 if you can get me a picture of the T-Rex, or some shit like that. That didn't happen. We managed to somehow keep that from happening. So it's actually one of the prouder moments of my security career. So now it, like you're saying, yeah, it would be impossible, I think, now to do that. And if you really want to go back, before Jurassic Park, there was the Michael Keaton Batman with Danny DeVito playing the Penguin, and that was shot on stage 12 at Universal Studios, which is the voice stage now if you watch The Voice, because they built the Penguin's lair there, and they didn't want any photos there either. And we actually did have somebody took a picture of Danny DeVito in his penguin suit or something like that. I can't remember. And that one did get leaked out, but they did not have 100% ID check like Jurassic Park did. And I think Spielberg and everybody learned from their failings, because as security people, my guards that worked for me could only do so much, if it wasn't a closed set, if it didn't have 100% ID check, etc. So yeah, that's just a little bit of behind the scenes for somebody that worked on the productions and all that stuff. I hope that didn't bore you guys or anything, but actually got my hands on a very old Hobbit book. So are you talking about a hardcover dragon, or are you talking about a paperback? Let's see. So yeah, and I have hardcover Brownish. Yeah, see, I don't have any of the hardcover Hobbit stuff or Lord of the Rings at all. Everything on mine's paperback. So that's a good find you got there. Um, thank you, Colin. Yeah, I actually have my Jurassic Park one is framed, and my Jurassic Park: The Lost World, the second one, is not framed, but I have it on the wall as well. That one's actually been damaged a little bit, unfortunately. But yeah, so that was and then seeing it in the theater for us, I didn't see the movie till I saw it in the theater, even though I worked on the the thing. They didn't do like a premiere for us or anything like that. Spielberg wanted it to be seen eyes only. You know, he wanted it fresh for everybody in the theater. He wanted everybody to have that ah moment, you know, when you see the dinosaurs and stuff like that. So um anyway, so I was talking a little bit about this at the very beginning of this live, and um if any of you guys want to indulge me, this is for our Salt Lake Comic Con that we have here in Salt Lake City, and they call it Fan X now. And I'll give the story again real quick because a lot of you, most of you, weren't even in here. So I won't be going to this because they kind of shit on us, all of us, what they call small. They like to use the term small media, YouTubers uh, and bloggers and vloggers and stuff like that, that helped basically get them on the map back in the day, excuse me, when they first started. But the reason it's called Fan X is because one of the owners, Dan Farr, when it first started, he went down to San Diego Comic Con. He drove his uh, Audi TT, his beautiful Audi TT that he had with the Salt Lake Comic Con logos all over it and everything. He drove it down to San Diego and he parked it in front of the San Diego convention. And he was out there, you know, spouting off about how great Salt Lake would be. And he was trashing San Diego and all that other stuff. And he pissed them off to the point that they sued uh, Salt Lake Comic Con and said that they couldn't use the term Comic Con in their name. And San Diego won. And they had to change their name, and now it's called Fan X, Salt Lake Fan X. And it set a precedent. If San Diego wanted to, because there's like a New York Comic Con, any of them that have the words Comic Con in their title, if they wanted to, they could make them change it because there's already precedent for it. They've already won a lawsuit about it. It's already what they call case law. But San Diego hasn't done that. All they did was do it to Dan Farr because he was a dick, and he went down there and instead of just letting them have their con, he went down and he disturbed it. They didn't give a shit that he had a con up here in Salt Lake. They didn't care. They did care that he went down there and was being a dick in front of theirs, and it bit him in the ass, and it cost him a shit ton of money in legal fees too. So anyway, they're hurting now. If you can see, that's their headliners there. If you can see who their headliners are. Now, they used to get people like Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher and, you know, rest in peace, Carrie Fisher and what's his name? Goddamn, I'm drawing a blank on William Shatner. And they had all kinds of big names. None that come to mind right now. Oh, they had Chris Evans. They had Captain America, and they had Haley Atwell. They had Agent Carter. They were there together on stage together. They were the headliners one year. I mean, they had some big names. They're not drawing shit now. So yeah, that bit him in the ass hard. But anyway, so how it affected me was we have a podcast that's here local called Dungeon Crawlers Radio, and they're actually a pretty decent sized podcast. They had a big following, and I actually got to they had somebody that couldn't be there one day or whatever, and they're like, hey, do you want to fill in on the podcast with us, you know, as a guest? And so I went in and I did that, and I did it I think twice, and then they ended up coming here and they did a live here in my tavern here, my gaming tavern. And so I think I did a total of 3 times. And so Dungeon Crawlers Radio had a big following. I was a small YouTuber, but I still got the word out about Salt Lake Comic Con when it first started. And they were supposed to have 20, they expected 20,000 their first year, 20,000 attendees, and they had over 50,000. And that's because, and then they thanked us all. They said, oh, it's all you small media, YouTubers and vloggers and everybody, Twitter and everybody else, and thank you. And then after they grew and they got over 100,000, I think, one year, all of a sudden, and before that, they would give us media passes so we could get in. Like, I could have one person with me, two people on a media pass, and we could get in for free. And then we were also allowed with our media pass to interview talent. And then when they got big, they started to us small media. They started saying, oh, you're not big enough. You don't have enough followers, so we're not going to give you a media pass anymore. But motherfucker, we're the reason that you guys got as big as you did. A small media, you thanked us. You went out of your way to say, hey, thanks, small media. You guys talked us up, and through word of mouth, you guys got us up, and then they shit on us after that. So, as far as I'm concerned, fuck these guys. So, anyway, sorry about that little rant there, but that's the kind of shit that goes on, with everything tries to go Hollywood, and that's the way it goes. So, pissed me off so much I had to have a second beer. A lot of things that rely on the goodwill of fans have made mistakes. Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. Yep. That's you can see that not just in my little example that I gave, but in a lot of things, It's one of those things where they keep repeating the same mistakes because they don't learn from history, that don't forget, it's, the cliche, don't forget the little people. And they tell you that, when you get big, don't forget the little people, but they always do, So, I mean, somebody like Keanu Reeves is he's the exception to the rule because he's a genuinely nice guy. There's stories all the time about him being on the subway and giving up his seat for an elderly lady or whatever, or, just helping people just because he can or whatever. He's the exception to the rule, So, Tom Hanks, I think, is another one. So, they're perfect example, Colin. Reminds me of the StarCraft tournaments that were started by fans and then got taken over once. Exactly. Same shit right there. Exactly the same. That's a perfect example right there. Yeah, same stuff, yeah, there was another podcast called Stolen Droids. So there was Stolen Droids, Dungeon Crawlers Radio, me, and then a whole bunch of people like me who were small YouTubers and stuff, but collectively as a group, as we were spreading the word, it helped make that thing a big success, and of course, whatever wealth they garnered from it, they ended up having to turn around and spend it on legal fees fighting San Diego. And for whatever reason, they thought they could fight San Diego Comic-Con. I don't know, but San Diego Comic-Con is like the behemoth out there, So, yeah, and then, I mean, Blizzard, we could write, they could write volumes about the fuck-ups that Blizzard, right? I mean, that Blizzard has done. I mean, really, it's actually kind of unfathomable how bad they fucked everything up, I mean, damn. That's some sad state of affairs, I mean, and another example is, if any of you guys are old enough to have, well, I know some of you guys are old enough, but if you played Star Wars Galaxies, for those of you that don't know, Star Wars Galaxies was the first Star Wars MMO. And when it came out, you had 32 classes, and you didn't have to pick a class. You basically just went out. You had to pick a generalization. Like, you had to be a scout, you had to be a combat, you had to be like a medic, you had to be, and then there was all these subclasses and stuff under that, and you could spend your points anywhere you wanted to. You could be a creature handler doctor, with almost no combat if you wanted to, and you didn't need the combat if you were doing those things because the player economy was 100% player driven. There was no there was almost no vendors to sell as gold sinks, as credit, what we call credit sinks, because it was credits instead of gold. Everything was player driven, and it was an incredible experience to play that game. And the players, if you go back and watch any of the old Star Wars Galaxies videos on YouTube, and you see when people created out of nothing, they created what we called the South Coronet Mall, which was people getting land, and you could build structures and stuff, and then they actually rented out spaces to people to put their vendors in there, just like a real mall. And if you needed anything, you went to the South Coronet Mall, and it was all player driven stuff, all player crafted stuff, everything. And it was an incredible experience. And then Sony Online Entertainment saw that World of Warcraft was going apeshit, of course. This was right when World of Warcraft went, like, they launched and then they went astronomical. And they decided, oh, we've got to be more like World of Warcraft because of the dollars, right? And they completely fucked up the game. They did what they called a they did what they called a combat upgrade, which was they basically kind of took a lot of shit away that of the individuality of a lot of the classes and all these different things. And then they did what they called the NGE, which was the new game enhancements, also known as we're taking. So like you could be a ranger or a creature handler, let's say, and have some doctor and have some merchant or whatever in your tree where you spent your points and everything else. And they took all that away. And the next day you logged on and you were just, a ranger. Like all that other shit was just gone. Like all that stuff you worked for, it was just gone. And it was because they took 32 and took it down to 9. And that was another thing where they didn't give a shit about the players, even though the players are the ones that built the game up and everything else. Another example of what we were talking about, and it keeps happening over and over and over again. It's pretty sad. Player agency is something that really needs to come back to Force Gaming. Most new games got little of it. Again, you guys are like on fire. My comment section here is a bunch of fucking intelligent people that are making great points that I wish that there was some way that the video game industry could like be reading all this, because you guys aren't just making like blatant, oh, fuck those guys, you're not just making those kind of statements. No, you're making cogent, intelligent statements here that address real issues, and yep. I can absolutely imagine players booting up Star Wars Galaxy, seeing all the progress gone and just dropping. And that's what millions of us did. I dropped it. I went back later and tried to play some more, and I was like, oh, this is absolutely ridiculous. Because the original Star Wars Galaxy, to become a Jedi, no one even knew. Here, this is going to blow y'all's mind. Imagine playing Star Wars Galaxy, first Star Wars MMO. You're playing the shit out of it. It's got 32 classes and everything else. Nobody, not one of us, knew that there were playable Jedi in the game. Somebody had to stumble upon it, and that's how the developers made it. It was so fucking hard. Somebody had to absolutely stumble upon it to find out. And he or she, I can't remember if it was a he or she, the first Jedi just got a notice on things saying you have unlocked the Jedi profession on you or whatever. And they actually were able to create their fucking Jedi on the spot. I swear to God, no one knew. Nobody knew. And then imagine that person builds their Jedi. They go out into town and they pull out their goddamn lightsaber. The whole fucking thing went ballistic. What the fuck is that? Is that an NPC? No, that's a player with a fucking lightsaber. And nobody knew it. Nobody knew that they existed in the game, that you could make yourself a Jedi. And it was so goddamn hard to do. Then the next thing that blew everybody's mind was that person that pulled out their lightsaber and everything else. The bounty hunters, that was another class in the game. Bounty hunters had bounty terminals that were for NPCs. They could go hunt NPCs and collect bounties and everything else. The fucking Jedi started showing up on the bounty terminals. They could go and kill that fucking Jedi player and make like a million credits, 100,000 credits starting, and then like higher level Jedi were more. So this Jedi who built their Jedi didn't know they could unlock it, unlocked it, and didn't realize that now the bounty hunters that were people that were playing bounties could kill them for a bounty. That shit was real. That all happened. Nobody knew about that. They just found it out organically. Can you imagine that? Being the first Jedi out there waving your fucking lightsaber. Oh, yeah, look at this. I'm a Jedi. You know, blam. Fucking bounty hunter blows your brains out. And you're like, what the hell just happened? Now, here's the next thing that's going to blow your mind. When a bounty hunter killed a Jedi, they lost a shit ton of XP. So if they had did some grinding up to like next level Jedi or whatever, they lost half their fucking level when that bounty hunter killed them. Now that, nobody knew any of that. We just were finding it out as it was happening. And so immediately, once the word spread about bounty hunters being able to kill the Jedis, all the people that had unlocked their Jedi, the handful of people that had unlocked their Jedi, went into hiding in the game. They had to go into hiding because the bounty hunters, because they were just new Padawans. And they weren't that powerful. They were just learning how to use their Jedi powers and everything in the game. And the bounty hunters were full level bounty hunters. And they were kicking their asses. And then they were losing their XP that they built up. And they bounty hunters were getting rich. Holy shit. That was real. That happened. That's the way it happened. Anyway, sorry to get excited, but those concepts are gone, man. God damn, that was a good game. Shit. So Mike asks, did you have to find holocrons to become a Jedi? Yes, you did. He knows it. So the key was there were holocrons in the world, and you had to do a certain number of professions. And if you did a certain number of professions, then you would get, if you found a holocron, you could open it, and it would tell you the next profession that you needed to pursue. The holocron would say something cryptic like, you need to seek out the knowledge of being a droid engineer. And then you had to fucking grind droid engineer to max. But the first person who did it didn't know what the hell they were doing. They were just getting these holocrons and going, okay, I guess I need to be a droid engineer. And they were doing it. And then bing, they were a Jedi one day. And they went, oh shit, that's how you do it, you know? And of course the word spread like fire once that happened. But of course, also the bounty hunters started going out, and once the first bounty hunter found out, imagine being at the bounty hunter at the terminal, and all of a sudden you see this, because you've been hunting all these NPCs, and you get used to seeing the NPCs, and all of a sudden you see this other name, and you're like, the hell is this case of something, you know, or whatever. And then it says next to it, you know, Jedi Padawan or some shit like that. And you're like, I've never had to fight it. And then you realize, wait a second, that's a player. And then you had to go, they had seeker droids. The bounty hunters had seeker droids. And there was 9 planets in the Star Wars Galaxy universe. You had to travel from planet to planet. And they had to figure out what planet they were on. And then they had to launch seeker droids. And the seeker droids would kind of give them an idea of where the Jedi was. And the Jedi would be out there grinding they would always grind in the middle of nowhere because they didn't want to get caught by a bounty hunter out there grinding for XP. They'd be out in the middle of damn nowhere in the desert of Lok, the planet of Lok. And the funny part about it was when another player would show up on your mini map, it would be a dot, a little blue dot. And these fucking Jedi would be out there grinding and everything. And they would do it in groups, the 2 or 3 Jedi at a time, because one of them would be a lookout. And if they saw another fucking blue dot show up on their mini map, they would yell at the other, and they have to type it, of course, because there was no in-game speech at that time, in-game voice chat or whatever. And they'd be like in all caps or whatever, you know, BH for bounty hunter or whatever. And these guys had speeder bikes, and the Jedi would get on their fucking speeder bikes and take off, and the bounty hunters would be fucking chasing them on speeder bikes, just like in the movies. And then they had safe houses built. The Jedi had safe houses built on every planet, and they would haul ass to a safe house, because if you could get into your player house, it would lock the door, and the bounty hunters couldn't get into you. You know, and the choice there was to outweight the bounty hunter or log off. That was your only 2 choices, because if you went back out, the bounty hunter, especially if they were high level, they would kill the Jedi. So it was like, okay, do I log off, or do I just wait and see if the bounty hunter gets tired of waiting and takes off? You know. Oh shit. Yeah, Wrath of the Righteous looks incredible, and I kicked myself because it was on. No, that one wasn't the one on sale. The other one, the first Pathfinder Kingmaker, I think, was on sale the other day on Steam, and I didn't buy it. It was like 50% off or whatever, and I should have bought the damn thing because um, it was dirt cheap. It was like $10 for and I think it was like $15.99 for like the whatever the royal version or whatever it was to get all the DLC and all that shit. I should have done that. So anyway, I hope I haven't bored you guys with all these old man rants and shit. So well, this has been fun, guys. We're going on an hour. I'm going to stop right at the 60-minute at an hour. So, yeah, and that's why I call myself the YouTube's vintage gamer, because I've been doing this shit for 40 years, and I have the collection to back it up, and I have the stories. So, I just wish, I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong with building my channel, because I'm not getting any new subscribers. I don't know if it's my personality. I don't know if it's the way I come across. I don't know if I'm off-putting to people when they see one of my videos or whatever. They're not clicking subscribe or whatever. I can't figure it out. Well, wrath is a separate story if that's a concern, but yep, that makes two of us. So, Jesse, do you have a YouTube channel too? Because if you do, I will absolutely support you. I will go to your channel and subscribe, and yeah, because I'm all for supporting each other. But yeah, I got to figure out what I'm doing wrong. I think I need to my thumbnail game is weak, because I haven't figured out how to do thumbnails with all the fucking graphics and all the and like the reaction fucking people do and all that stuff. And it could be and I probably just need to do what I'm doing right now. I'm putting content out every day. I'm doing lives a couple times a week, and just keep doing that and see if the algorithm picks it up at some point and starts putting me on the recommended or something. So I might just be patient here for a little bit. But yeah. And Mistra here, for those of you that are seeing Mistra in the chat, she has been one of my biggest supporters for the entire, yeah, I call her Dragon because she used to have a different handle, but she's been one of my biggest supporters the whole time. So yeah, she's been with me the whole time. So yeah, I hope it's the algorithm that would, to me, that makes sense, that maybe I just need to be patient and let it, kind of do its thing. But I know I need to work on my thumbnails. I finally figured out how to do full screen video recording of my desktop, of whatever's on my screen, and with my breakout window, I can do in-game footage, because I just dropped an in-game footage of Quake Remastered before this. I've got my unboxings. I've got product reviews. I've got vlogs. So I'm trying to do a little bit of everything, and to try and keep the stuff fresh. And I'll be buying new games as they come out, PC games, that is. Console stuff, I just don't dabble in console, but I'll be doing, and I'll try to do quick reviews right after they come out to try and grab people. So why the 4x4 in your name? I drive a 4-wheel drive truck, and I thought that Greyhawk, because it's based on the world of Greyhawk for Dungeons and Dragons, I thought that was just a little bit too generic. It was too simple. Plus, I didn't want them to say, you can't just use the term Greyhawk, because that might be copywritten. I needed to add something to it. So I thought, well, I drive a 4-wheel drive truck, so Greyhawk 4x4 sounds kind of catchy. So that's why I did that. I hope that wasn't a letdown, but that's all it is. So, and part of that is, I don't know how many of you guys follow Boogie 2988, but yeah, I started because of Boogie 2988. That's why I started a YouTube channel, is because I saw that guy and I was like, and he wouldn't take offense to this comment. I know he wouldn't. I said, well, if that guy can do a YouTube channel and be successful, I sure as shit can. I got this massive collection behind me. I've been gaming for 40 years. I should be able to, have an audience, and his was Boogie 2988. And I was like, so rather than just Boogie, he had the 2988 on there, which kind of gave it a little zing at the end, and so that's why another reason why I said, well, Greyhawk's just too simple by itself, and I did the Greyhawk 4x4. So, hey, Lil Will. Yeah. Did you just join, Lil Will? Because I'm just getting ready to wrap up here. We just hit an hour. But you'll be able to see this whole thing, you'll be able to play it back, yeah. Who knows, Mr. Dragon, who knows who will sue anybody for anything. You can sue anybody for anything you want to. It doesn't mean you'll win, but you can sue anybody for anything. So right on, Lil Will. So, all right, guys, it's my voice is going. It's been an hour. This has been fun. This has been a blast. I will try to do. Let's just say I'll try to do 2 of these a week. Let's try and we'll do like 2 lives a week, and I will on Twitter. I'll tweet it out, like beforehand that I'm going to do a live or whatever. So, all right, guys, take it easy. We'll catch you on the flip side.